Welcome back to the webcast, All Sports One Web. It is Tuesday, so that means NFL picks. I'm here, Doug's here. Let's go. All right, welcome back to the webcast, All Sports One Web. Today is Tuesday, so that means we are doing our NFL picks for Week 8. But what a crazy Week 7 we had. Quarterback controversies all over the board. We're going to dive into it. We do all of our picks here on ESPN, so go ahead and make your account so you can pick along with us as we are getting closer to the second half of the season, almost at the halfway point in the NFL season as we are entering Week 8. Week 8, more teams are going on by, so we have less picks each week, but it allows us to dive a little bit more into it. But Doug, how did you enjoy the crazy sports weekend? MLB playoffs pushing to the NLCS, ALCS, are wrapping those up now, going to the World Series. We had basketball picking up as well. NFL, good college football weekend, some good matchups. How was your weekend?
It was good. All I really care about is the Chiefs won, and they won in pretty solid fashion against a really good team.
Yeah, what a good performance that was in San Francisco with that Christian McCaffrey trade. I think a lot of people were thinking, okay, how involved is he going to be? 8 touches for Christian McCaffrey in that San Francisco offense. Obviously, the defensive side of the ball, they need to bring back some people. So we've got Nick Bosa coming back. I think this weekend was going to help him on that side of the ball. But a statement win. I think it was 16 unanswered in the fourth quarter for the Chiefs to really run away with that one late. What a great performance. But it is Week 8, so let's get into our picks, starting off with the Thursday night matchup between Baltimore and Tampa Bay. Now, Tampa Bay, in their last 9 quarters, have one offensive touchdown, and that was in kind of the last 4 minutes against Pittsburgh to make it a 2-point game. Really, they're late, really nothing really going for them throughout the entire game. Mike Evans had a ball go straight through his hands on like the 5th play from scrimmage last week. He had just green grass in front of him. Would have been a nice 40-odd yard touchdown for him to kick off that game. Tampa Bay goes on to not score a touchdown the rest of the game. So definitely a turning moment against Carolina there. Losing 21-3. Losses against Pittsburgh and Carolina in back-to-back weeks, which we know the state of Pittsburgh and Carolina.
Yeah, pretty bad
what are your
teams.
thoughts on Tampa right now? Are you worried as a Tampa Bay fan? Or would you be worried if you were a Tampa Bay fan?
I mean, yes and no. Yes, because you don't really see this type of performance from a Tom Brady team, let alone a team with this kind of caliber that they do have. I mean, they clearly have weapons all over the field, anywhere you look. And, giving up 21 to Carolina, not the end of the world, but they don't have Christian McCaffrey. They're playing PJ Walker as their quarterback.
It's 3-1.
Yeah.
3-1 in NFL starts. PJ Walker, let's go.
Yeah, no McCaffrey, no Robbie Anderson. They only have DJ Moore. It just seems like
interim coach.
Yeah, interim coach. So to give up 21, not great. But for Tampa Bay, you would think 21 against the Panthers, they should score at least 21 against the Panthers. So the defense wasn't their problem. It's just they can't move the ball. And I don't understand what their issue is. They have so many weapons. Tom Brady, he's never had an issue with teams. Normally he'll have a few quarters, but then he'll bring it around because he's a great player and he knows how to figure out defenses. So am I nervous? I don't think so. I mean, it's Week 7. They could go 13-4. We don't, you know what I mean? It's just, that's the NFL. That's the brilliance of the NFL, is every single team is good. If you have an off day, anybody can beat anybody. It's really weird though. I struggle with this one. Aaron Rodgers said everybody needs to calm down. It's only week 7. He hasn't even found his chakra yet or whatever
It
stupid
needs
stuff
to
he was
take
talking
more
about. But
ayahuasca.
yeah, but I agree with him. It's week 7. There's still some time. Now, if they week 10 and they're still battling around 500, then okay, maybe it's time to start getting a little more worried. But I think give it a few more weeks.
Yeah, I mean, pretty shocking. I don't know what's more shocking. Tom Brady throws for close to 300 yards and Tampa Bay doesn't score a single touchdown, or the fact that Tampa Bay has lost to the Steelers in Carolina in the last 2 weeks and still tops their division. I don't know which is more surprising.
Oh, the division's pretty bad, so that one doesn't surprise me very much.
Yeah. So they will be hosting the Ravens here on Thursday Night Football, and they have had a crazy season to start for them as well after 7 weeks. One of 2 teams, the Ravens, who have had 10-plus point digit leads in every single game this year, and yet they sit here at 4-3.
Well, they held on to this one.
Yeah, the only other team is Philadelphia, who's undefeated. So you can see where the Ravens, should be closer to that undefeated, maybe a 6-2 or a 6-1. Maybe a 5-2.
They 100% should be 6-1.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I agree. And like
let's say one of those games they gave up. They lost their lead, but the other 2, they 100%. They shouldn't have dropped 3. Not like that. There's just no way. They're too good.
And against good teams as well. You talk about Buffalo, Miami, when Miami was full and healthy atop the AFC. These are good teams that they were playing, that they were comfortably ahead and just left it late. And so this past week, like you said, they were able to hang on, but the team they were playing was the Browns, who we've seen throw away even more leads. So I wrote this down because anytime I watch the Browns, I have to write this down now after my miss-ups in the Atlanta game. So I want to get this right, okay? The Browns score with 9 minutes left to make it a 20-23 game, okay? Browns down by 3. Yes, that is how the game finished, by the way. So have that in your mind. Baltimore drives, fumbles in Cleveland territory. Cleveland drives, gets a touchdown, but it's called back for offensive pass interference. Then they go and try and kick a field goal, but that gets called back for false start. So then it's a 60-yard field goal that gets blocked. Baltimore will then run out the clock. 24 seconds left. Cleveland gets the ball. A couple of receptions, but they couldn't pull off Patrick Mahomes drive down the field, get in field goal range, or a Hendon Hooker. Either way, they had more time than that. Jacoby Brissett, I guess, just as good as Hendon Hooker or Patrick Mahomes. Who would have thought? And they couldn't kick. They ended up a long pass and then ending up tackled and fumbled, but it was over anyway. Baltimore kind of escaped that. It could have definitely went into overtime, and they could have or lost if Cleveland didn't get any of those penalties and or could make a field goal ever when it actually mattered. So do you think Baltimore's going to carry any of those woes into Tampa Bay? Is this the perfect matchup for Tampa Bay, a team that is having trouble scoring against a team that gives up leads?
The only better team for Tampa Bay to play is the Browns because they refuse to win. It's not that they can't win. They refuse to. They literally, it's just mistake after mistake after mistake. And like you said, they scored a touchdown, got called back. They kick a field goal, gets called back. It's just they're killing themselves in every aspect of the game. They just kill themselves in the fourth quarter. They cannot figure out how to finish games. And Baltimore, once again, tried to give it away. The Browns came down, they scored, and they got lucky, and it's amazing. I don't understand it. I don't know what's going on with Baltimore right now. I can understand that from the Browns because that's just kind of what they've been doing, and they're getting better as a team and an organization as a whole. But they're not quite there yet. They're getting there. They don't even have their starting quarterback in, But from the Ravens, that's just – you don't see that from the Ravens. And
yeah. So
I think that Tampa Bay is going to struggle. But, yeah, I think why is this game going to be any different? Where they're going to be up by 17-0 or 17-3 at halftime, and they're going to blow the lead.
Yeah, and that's the thing. We'll see if
against
J.K.
one of the best
Dobbins.
quarterbacks out of halftime ever.
Yeah, well, yeah, we say that he hasn't scored a touchdown in 9 quarters of football, but
Well, yeah, but
uh,
historically, he's great. After he plays 2
yeah.
quarters of mediocre football, he figures it out.
Yeah, usually that is for sure. Crazy to think that at the end of Thursday night, we could have both of these teams atop their division at 500. I don't know,
Yeah.
all surprising to start the season after 8 weeks for both of these teams. Baltimore, 1.5 point favorite going into this one. We see 68% are going to ride Baltimore to kind of figure out their late game woes and get a win down in Tampa. Are you feeling the same way?
No, I think Tampa's going to win this game. I think they're going to figure it out. I think Baltimore's going to give up the lead. And you know what's funny too is Prime Video. They finally got what they thought was going to be a good matchup, but now it's turning out to where maybe it's not even that good of a match. It's not even the best matchup of the week.
Yeah.
But no, I think Tampa Bay is going to win this game. They're at home, and I don't see how this offense can go another quarter without scoring a touchdown.
Yeah, especially coming back home now after being in Carolina and in Pittsburgh the last 2 weeks. You would expect them to kind of start to right the ship, hopefully, getting people back and healthy. So I think it'll be a close one. I'm really interested to see. I think Baltimore are going to control possession here. Tampa Bay was supposed to be this great run defensive team, giving up 100 yards rushing the last couple of weeks. Baltimore is definitely a problem with Lamar Jackson. So I think it'll be close, but I agree. I think Tom Brady figures it out. I don't think they could possibly lose again. Can they? Could they lose again? So
I don't
let's
know.
go.
I don't know.
Tampa Bay at home Thursday night. We will now move to the Sunday slate of games. Denver, Russell Wilson out last week. Jacksonville with that great start at 2-5, but now find themselves at 2-5. Who do you got in this battle of teams that are still trying to figure it out? Maybe.
I think Jacksonville's a better team right now. I mean, well, they just got rid of James Robinson, which isn't great for them, but Travis Etienne is showing that he's their number one anyway. I like Jacksonville in this game because Denver's offense is so bad. Their defense is good, but their offense is so bad. And Jacksonville's defense is okay, and their offense is pretty good. So I think that their defense will be better than Denver's offense.
Yeah, only 9 points out against the Jets for Denver last week. We'll see how Russ is going into this weekend. But in Jacksonville, I agree with you. I think Jacksonville will have a little bit too much for Denver's kind of anemic offense here.
Game. Is this in London?
Oh, is this London? Oh, Jacksonville's annual London game here against Denver. So let's go Jacksonville there at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Yes, Tottenham play tomorrow in the Champions League as well.
We better play better than we did on the weekend. Yeah. That's all I'm going to say. We'll
save
it for tomorrow.
Game week 5.
I got a lot to say about that.
Yeah, game week 5, a big matchup in the Champions League. We'll see if Tottenham can clinch a spot in the round of 16. Carolina, PJ Walker, 3-1 now, will take his talents into Atlanta, take on the Atlanta Falcons, who find themselves at 3-4. Who do you got in this one?
I like Atlanta in this one. Purely because I just don't think Carolina can keep it up. I think they may lose more players this week. I think they should. I know somebody had inquired about Brian Burns, their star linebacker, and they rejected it. Now I agree. I probably would have rejected it too. He's young enough. I would just want to keep him on defense. It's easier to replace a running back than a star linebacker, in my opinion. It's hard to replace Christian McCaffrey, but you can at least replace him with production. Chuba Hubbard and the other guy they have, I forget his name, but they both ran pretty well. So, I think Atlanta wins this game. I think they have a solid team.
Yeah, I would agree. They got smacked by the Bengals last week. Joe Burrow just went off there.
But that's not fair.
Yeah,
That's
not
not
fair.
fair to them.
Yeah, not a good matchup there. The Bengals returning home in Cincinnati. They're just making work of the NFC South, I guess. Cincinnati is this season after back-to-back wins against the Falcons and the Saints. I agree, though. I think the Falcons going back to Atlanta will be too much for PJ Walker and the Panthers. Even with Freeman going for 100 yards against Tampa Bay last week. Chicago and Dallas, okay? Both a part of some cool, crazy QB storylines this past weekend. As we talked about last Tuesday with the Cowboys, Cooper Rush obviously losing Sunday Night Football against Philadelphia in Week 6. Dak coming back from the thumb injury. You and I were going back and forth on whether or not we thought Dak would start this game. We kind of felt that this could be a good week last week, taking on Detroit at home for Dak to return, especially with DeAndre Swift being out as well for Detroit. They won comfortably there 24-6. That was a clean break transition between a backup quarterback and the starting quarterback. Cooper Rush did great while he was there, played a juggernaut in Philadelphia, didn't perform very well. Starter comes back in a good game, good transition. Dak was comfortable.
He did his job.
He did his job. 19 for 26, I think he was. No interceptions, 1 touchdown, I think. Comfortable win, start to finish, 24-6 over Detroit. Now we turn to Chicago in New England last night, Monday Night Football. And this was a mess. I could not believe this. Mac Jones starting after Bailey Zappi the Patriots went 67-15 in their last 2 games against Cleveland and Detroit. 2-0 in those games with Zappi under center. Mac Jones was 1-3 to start his campaign off. His only win came against Pittsburgh. And we knew that was week 2 when Pittsburgh just lost TJ Watt and were just terrible offensively. Trubisky was not performing well at all. And so Mac Jones gets the start. And in his first 3 possessions, he ends up going 3 for 7 for 21 yards and an interception in 1 and some quarters of play as New England found themselves down 10-0. Then Zappi comes in for the remainder of the second quarter and goes 4 for 4, 97 yards, a touchdown, and then hands off to Stevenson for another touchdown. Patriots regain the lead. You think the second half is going to be more of the same with Zappi under center. It's going to drive them forward. They don't go on to score a single point. Bears defense just keeps them at bay. Great performance from the Bears. Justin Fields able to scramble, get some key third downs with his legs as the Bears improved to 3-4 last night. But what do you think of the whole quarterback situation between Dallas and New England over the last weekend?
Well, Dallas did it right. Pick your quarterback. Just pick it. If he plays bad, if Dak were to come in and play bad and throw, 2 interceptions or something and whatever, play your quarterback. You chose him. And then if it doesn't work, at halftime, then take him out at halftime and then put your other guy in, whatever you need to do. But I don't like Mac Jones was out for a few weeks. He plays 1 quarter of football. Let the man get back into it. You know what I mean? Yeah, he may not have looked great, but, maybe he told them he re-aggravated his injury. Maybe they're hiding that. I don't know. But if he's healthy and you chose him to be your starting quarterback, let him get into a rhythm, He's been out for a few weeks. It's a tough Bears defense. You're going to have to let him get into the game.
Yeah, see, that's I agree with that. I think once you make a decision, you're going to have to stick with it. The fact that you let him go 3 drives, 3 and out with some penalties mixed in there, and then an interception. Yes, that's terrible, but you picked him to come back. You knew it wasn't going to be a great start. He's going to have to roll in it. You're only down 10. It's not desperation time. You're at home. So you need to stick with it. And
you're against the Bears who have no offense.
Yeah, I mean, they ended up running away with this one late, but you could see that, this game was close for a majority of the game. But the fans chanting to put in Zappi, I think, was not very helpful. Caving to that, I think, was even less helpful. Belichick is known for destroying young quarterbacks and yet he destroyed his own young quarterbacks. Confidence has to be out of the window for both of them. Mac Jones comes back from an injury, gets benched after 3 drives. Zappe has 2 great wins, leading that team to 2 wins, 2 of their 3 wins in 2 games as a starter, blowing out Detroit, blowing out Cleveland in Cleveland, just to get benched and then put back into the game. And
Yeah,
it's a mess. I hate it. I just
and then at the end of the year, they're going to draft a quarterback.
Oh, of course, naturally. But we'll get to the Patriots later on. But who do you got in this one? Justin Fields on a short week, but leading the Bears now, find themselves at 3-4 as they go into Dallas to take on the Cowboys. Dak most likely going to be, the starter again for this one before they go into their bye week. Who do you got?
I got Dallas in this one. I think they're too good of a team. I think the Bears won't be able to score very much on them. Dallas has a pretty solid defense, and they're a confusing defense. And I think that a young quarterback in Justin Fields without very many weapons is going to have a really hard time.
Yeah, I would agree with that one. Great win last night. Good character for the Bears. Go into New England and get that done. But I think Dallas will present a different challenge, and I got Dallas in that one. Miami 4-3 now after their 3-1 start. Travel to Detroit, who looked to get DeAndre Swift back after he was held out last weekend in their 24-6 loss to the Cowboys. Maybe the offense is getting back to form. You would hope anyway. Last 2 weeks with DeAndre Swift out, only 6 points and combined in those 2 games, and they had a bye week in the middle of that to prepare. So not great offensively. Can they do enough if they get Swift back to take down the Dolphins at home?
They desperately need Swift back. Desperately. But no, I don't think it's enough to take down the Dolphins. The Dolphins are too good. They have too many weapons on the offensive side of the ball against an atrocious defense. I think even if this becomes a shootout, there's just no way that the Lions can keep up with the Dolphins, period.
Yeah, I agree. Tua coming back last week against Pittsburgh, but 0 points in the second half from Miami and from Pittsburgh, and that one was a little odd to see. We had 10 punts, all of 5 plays or less. Anything that went above 5 plays was either turnover on downs or an interception in the second half. So I think I'm just going to throw that whole second half out just all together. And just stick to the first half. Tua getting his legs back underneath him. Glad to see that he's back in there and okay. So I agree. I think they will pick it up when they go to Detroit. Might be a shootout, but I think they'll get the win there. Minnesota bouncing back, getting that offense figured out. 5-1, top of the division, right there with Philadelphia, top the NFC. Arizona, on the other hand, welcomed back DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, right. It was crazy.
That's just DeAndre Hopkins
play calling. Yeah, right. It was 14-14 there late in the second quarter for Arizona on Thursday Night Football to get against the Saints. The defense comes up with 2 pick sixes in the last 4 minutes to kind of extend that lead, but the offense looked slow. For Arizona, they try to rectify that at halftime. They start off with 3 consecutive passes to DeAndre Hopkins. They don't get a first down. They have to punt it, but it seems like they're going to work him back in. So can that offense with DeAndre Hopkins, they added more, obviously, and they still got some great weapons. James Conner in the backfield. Can they compete with Minnesota? Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, Kirk Cousins, obviously getting everything rolling there, 5-1.
I think they can compete with them. It's just Minnesota's so good, and they're coming off a bye at home. That's a tough recipe,
Yeah.
DeAndre Hopkins looked great. Looked like D-Hop, no issues, and he's going to be a problem for everybody. But the Vikings, like I said, off a bye at home. I think the Vikings will win, but I do think this is going to be a really good game.
Yeah, I agree. I'm super excited about this one just to see if, I think this game for me will really solidify whether or not I think Cliff Kingsbury is going to be the dude. I think if they go in and the offense is looks like how they did in the first half against the Saints. And they just are sputtering all the time. I'm just going to be convinced that they need to go in a different direction. They got too much offensive firepower to be sitting at 3-4, especially bringing in DeAndre Hopkins back. And that defense is still solid defense. It's not like they're Seattle where they have to score 37 every game just to have a chance. And so I just got to wait and see, but I agree. I think Minnesota is going to have too much for them in the end, but I'm hoping for a good game here to see what they can do. Las Vegas getting it going. Josh Jacobs, 3 touchdowns, a bazillion yards last week as they improved to 2-4. The Raiders do on the season as they take on the 2-5 Saints in New Orleans, who had a Thursday night football, so they get 10 days rest for this one. Who do you got?
The Raiders are much better than 2-4. They're playing like they're much better than 2-4, and they've had injuries. Darren Waller's out. That's huge for that offense. You know how much Derek Carr likes to throw to him. He's security blanket for sure. He 100%, and now he adds Devontae Adams. So he has. It used to kind of be his first look. He'd throw it away and just throw it to Darren Waller. Now he can look at Devontae Adams. And then go who's almost always open, and then you can go to Darren Waller.
Yeah.
But Josh Jacobs, they played him like he was a rookie in the preseason. They were giving him so many snaps. They didn't extend his contract or re-sign him or anything, renew it, whatever you want to say. And he's running like he wants to get paid. He wants to get paid that Christian McCaffrey money. And I don't know, he's something else this year so far. And for that reason, I think that the Raiders are going to beat the Saints. I don't see the Saints really going out and putting up big points on the Raiders. And I think that the Raiders are going to put up a decent amount of points on the Saints.
Yeah, I agree. And like you said, I don't feel like this is a 2-4 football team. The Browns are 2-5, for example. And so they don't have those same kinds of problems of throwing away games. They've been close in all the games. And with Darren Waller out for a couple of them, it's even more impressive, in my opinion, being that safety blanket for Derek Carr. So I agree. I think they're getting things going. I always compare them to Minnesota. I feel like they're getting the pieces going offensively, and I think that they will roll into New Orleans.
They had a overtime loss against Arizona. Or was it overtime or just the end of game loss to Arizona? Regardless, it was a shootout.
Overtime.
And then they had a really close game against the Chiefs.
Yeah.
They could easily be 4-2.
Yeah, they lost by 5 to the Chargers, lost by 2 to the Titans, and that was the Derrick Henry game where he just went off in that first half, and then blew out the Texans. And we're right in it with the Chiefs as well, like you mentioned. So I think that
they're a great team. I think they're really close. They had a few key injuries, and I think they're right there.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely worth the favorite line there in New Orleans. There we go. Patriots versus the Jets. Who will be the starting quarterback for the Patriots when they go into the 5-2 Meadowlands? The Jets sitting there atop of the division, playing some great football defensively. See if Zach Wilson can keep going offensively to do enough to keep winning. Do you see the Jets taking it again this year against the Patriots?
Historically, this is not their favorite matchup, but
no.
They're playing everybody like a completely different. They're a completely different team this year, and they're playing great football. Now, this is a perfect game for the Jets against the Patriots because they have issues with their quarterback situation. They don't have quite as much offensive firepower as they have in the past. So I will pick the Jets in this game, but I will say if Zappe does not start this game for the Patriots, then Belichick he's lost it because you cannot break down Mac Jones's confidence like that, and Zappy's. So break down Mac Jones's confidence by sitting him. Now Zappy comes in. Cool, I'm the guy now. This is my team. They just benched the number one. And then if they go into the next game and they start Mac Jones, Zappy's like, well, what do I got to do to be number one?
Exactly.
What do I got to do to be the number one quarterback? You call on me when the number one's struggling, so that means I'm taking his job. Nope.
Yeah.
So that's my thoughts. Zappy needs to start, and I don't know if this is a Mac Jones era needs to be over, but this week Zappy has to start.
Yeah, I mean, I would start him. I would have started him against the Bears because I don't see how you can go 2-0 being how he was. Mac Jones just coming back from an injury. I just don't see why you take him out. I don't understand. He was obviously giving you way better play. The team was playing better with him.
And there's no need to rush.
I don't know what benefit you get. Yeah, they're both young. Mac Jones, if he's your franchise quarterback, he's going to be there for a lot more games. Just
that's what I mean. Why rush him in?
Ride out this win streak. Exactly. And you think if they go to 4-3, they go into this game with a chance to go top of the division. But now they sit at 3-4. This is almost a must win. They go lose this game. Now they're down 3 games to the Jets. Now the interesting thing here, Breece Hall, 4 carries last game, 72 yards before he goes and tears his ACL. So he is going to be missing the remainder of the season. We saw that the Jets offense, the only touchdown in the game against Denver was the 62-yard Breece Hall touchdown. So we'll see if they can figure out a way to get the offense going without him, who, he's
which
been
is just tragic.
Fantastic.
He was going to be rookie of the year.
Yeah.
He was seriously putting together a great season. It's just really unfortunate. Way too many of the ACL injuries that we've been seeing. And I know a lot of the pro players have been basically begging to no longer play on turf. I don't remember if that game was on turf or not, but they're saying, more ACL tears happen on turf. And so everybody's begging for just let's play on grass.
Yeah.
We got the money to do it. Just play on grass.
Yeah, I agree. I always like it. Soccer players are very big into this. They will not be playing on turf. They will, and rightfully so. I think you just are asking for more injuries. I just feel like it's a better playing surface. And I say that, but I do remember RG3 and his when he was playing on that Washington field in the playoffs against the Ravens. That game shouldn't have even gone forward with how bad condition that was. But that went forward, and of course he tore his ACL. That field was a disaster. So we don't want to see that either. But the NFL, I mean, come on, this is the NFL. We need to be having. You play 8 on every field, gets 8 games a year, and you're telling me you can't keep these fields in good condition. I get it's the NFL, there's tackling, but 8 games a year, that's it. 8 games. That's all we're asking for here. Let's get some good playing surfaces and hopefully limit these injuries. I personally do not see Bill Belichick ruining or losing to another 2-year quarterback back-to-back. It seems like he never does that. Losing Justin Fields last night. Yes, it's a short week. I think he's going to cause Zach Wilson problems. I think that offensive isn't going to get enough going, and we just need 1 touchdown from Zappy, I think was going to win this game. So I'm actually leaning New England in this one.
I'm okay with that because you just reminded me that Breece Hall got hurt. Yeah. Breece Hall was, 75% of the Jets team. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm okay with the New England win. I seriously hope, for everybody's sake, that Zappy starts. I don't think Mac Jones is a bad quarterback, but just for this game, Zappy needs to start. And if he does terribly, bench him at halftime, whatever you got to do, and then Mac Jones can take the job again. But he made that decision to bench Mac Jones. If it wasn't injury related, then Zappy has to start.
Yeah, I mean, and my thing is Bill Belichick dodging the question today at the press conference about quarterback controversy and what's going to happen. So I feel like he's going to start Mac Jones, but I totally agree with you. You cannot do this. I'm just going to ignore yesterday. I'm going to pretend that Bill Belichick did not coach yesterday and he just was not there. He had COVID. He was out. Someone else was doing the coaching. We're just going to skip that week and move on. So in his mind, Zappe's 2-0. Mac Jones is just coming back from an injury. That's how I would approach it. And Zappe needs to start because you've ruined everybody's confidence here. And you have to go with the guy who has at least a winning record. The Patriots have performed well when he's under center. We saw as soon as he got put into that game, they went on 2 great drives, 4 for 4, 96 yards, 97 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. It was fantastic. And so he needs to start. And I think Bill Belichick needs to say that he's going to start before this game. I think at least
give him the confidence.
Give him the confidence
and get him ready to go. As a player, a rookie, to know that going into this game, you're the starter all week. Every practice this week, you're our number one.
Yeah.
Now, that's not to say he has 3 bad drives and gets benched, but
could happen.
You're our number one this week.
Yeah.
Let's go out there and make it happen. And like I said, if he doesn't do well, he throws 3 interceptions and looks terrible, and Mac Jones is just chomping at the bit. And okay, do what you got to do, because Mac Jones had a pretty solid season last year as a rookie. I thought he did really well.
Yeah,
especially for a team without that, especially without a team that had, or with a team that didn't have crazy amount of weapons and everything.
Yeah.
It's not like he was playing for the Bucs, who had two great wide receivers, a great running back. I think that.
Are you saying Mac Jones is better than Tom Brady?
I'm saying that he probably would have been the past 9 quarters. But yes, I'm okay with the Patriots win. I think the Jets may have issues without Breece Hall. So
yeah, definitely interesting to see how they get going. A team that has no trouble going anywhere is Philadelphia, as they welcome in the 2-5 Pittsburgh Steelers.
Coming off a bye at home, do we even really need to talk about this one?
Yeah, is it hard to see? It's kind of hard to see that. What is that? 6% picks the Steelers. Yeah. That's I'm surprised it's that high.
Me too.
To be honest with you, but maybe it could be a trap game here for the Eagles. But we got them staying undefeated and going to 7-0 this season. The Titans rattle off 4 straight now as they go and take on the Texans. Titans reclaiming top spot in that division that seems to be struggling all over the place. Do you see anything but a Titans victory in this one?
I don't. The Titans are rolling right now. Derrick Henry's rolling. I don't think that the Texans can stop them.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that one. Letting up 38 to the Raiders last week. The Texans with 3 touchdowns and however 140 yards or whatever it was to Josh Jacobs. I don't think it's going to get any easier with Derrick Henry rolling into town. Always a tough division, a tough matchup when you're playing within the division, but I agree. Titans roll in that one. Washington sitting at 3-4, go into Indianapolis to take on the Colts. The Colts falling to the Titans last week, 19-10. Matt Ryan going 243, 1 touchdown and 2 picks, and may have thrown his last pass in the NFL as the Colts declared that Sam Ehlinger is going to be the starting quarterback the rest of the way for the Indianapolis
not just
Colts.
The starting quarterback next week, for the rest of the season.
For the rest of the season, and only 1 game out of the division. Is this a sign to you that they're just giving up, or do they really believe in Sam Ehlinger that much that he's going to be able to give them the best chance, being only 1 game out of the division, to kind of carry on with their medium to tough schedule? I think there's definitely some winnable games. This game they might see as one of those winnable games. Carson Wentz out, Taylor Heineke back in for the Washington Commanders after they came out with a win against Green Bay last week. Can they go to Indianapolis now and get a win?
I 100% think that they can. I'm not sure if they will. This is a tough game. I mean, you got Heineke's not a terrible quarterback, but he's not fantastic by any means, or he hasn't been in the past. This may be his breakout season. Who knows? Sam Ehlinger, I don't know that we've seen any of Sam Ehlinger. So I'm curious to see how he does. Matt Ryan has just been poor all season. He's thrown a lot of interceptions, a lot of just bad balls he's thrown. So I agree with them to make the change. I don't know that I would have locked it in for all season or said that, but I would have said he's our starting quarterback until he's not. But yeah, I think the Colts will win this game because they have a good defense. And I think Jonathan Taylor being back is going to be huge for them. I think Ellinger's going to lean on him. Ellinger can run pretty well. He did it at Texas. I think the Colts can win
as well.
Yeah, I think the Colts will win this game.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be that little bit of an injection for the team.
Yeah.
They're right there. They're not in a bad position where they're just, probably giving up on the season because they're so far back. They're right there in the race. I think that's going to give them a little bit of an injection with Sam Ellinger. He adds a different dimension completely than Matt Ryan does, being such a stationary quarterback, moving to Sam Ellinger. I think that's going to help them. And I think with that defense, they're going to be too much for the Commanders, and Indianapolis will take the win at home to stay right there behind Tennessee in the division.
If this is Matty Ice's last thrown ball in his career in the NFL, I really hope that this season doesn't diminish what he's really done in the NFL. I mean, phenomenal player, phenomenal quarterback. And so I just hopefully people can remember that he was fantastic for the Falcons. And, maybe he was hoping for more of a Peyton Manning type, end of his career, but not everybody's Peyton Manning.
Yeah, especially if he could have finished off that Super Bowl against the Patriots, but he did just pass. I think he's 7th all time now in passing yards for the NFL.
Yeah.
So great stat line to get under your belt. Obviously that great run, MVP season, high flying offenses, Roddy White, Julio Jones, great offenses that we got to watch him orchestrate and run. It sucks that he ended up without a Super Bowl. I always used to compare him to Matthew Stafford, these high gunslinger guys that sometimes their team wasn't up to par with them. But if you gave them a good weapon like a Calvin Johnson, a Roddy White, a Julio Jones, they could do damage. And we saw Matthew Stafford get the Super Bowl with the Rams. And sucks that Matt Ryan didn't get that opportunity to get his Super Bowl ring. But we will see how 5 years from now, maybe he'll get a call to Canton. We'll see how that goes. But the Rams now will host San Francisco, who look to bounce back after that Chiefs defeat. See how many touches Christian McCaffrey get in this one. Nick Bosa coming back to wreak havoc against the Rams. San Francisco owns the Rams in the regular season and really anytime. I think they're 7 out of the last 8. The only loss last year in the playoffs. Do the 49ers go to LA and get another win against the Rams?
I think so. I think Christian McCaffrey is just going to get more and more touches. He's going to continue to, learn the playbook and really, really fit into this offense well because of how they play with Deebo Samuel. They can kind of play like that with Christian McCaffrey, just in reverse. He can go out wide and act as a receiver, and as Deebo Samuel as a receiver will come back, play running back. It adds a whole nother dimension to this team because regardless of who you line up in the backfield, you don't know if it's a run or a pass. It still could be either. And now you have in my opinion, 2 of the best in the league at playing both positions, just being so versatile.
Yeah, right.
I mean,
maybe Austin Eckler gets up there and that's it.
That's what I mean. You don't really get 2 better players on your team that can just kind of rotate into any position minus tight end. They can go in the slot, they can play on the outside, they can line up in the backfield. I think San Francisco is going to be a serious contender, and I think they're going to show the Rams that they are a serious contender. And like you said, they own the Rams anyway, so just based on that, we should pick the 49ers.
It'd be interesting to see. We'll see if the Rams can. I think they were on a bye last week, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll see. They've had 2 weeks to prepare, see if they can right this regular season drought they've had against San Francisco. They're at home, but Nick Bosa coming back is a different animal for that defense that we know can be so fantastic. And Kyle Shanahan with another great piece is going to only get better on the offensive side. So I agree. San Francisco goes and makes it another win against the Rams this weekend in LA.
It's unfortunate for the Rams because they've been preparing for a team that they thought they knew, and then they bring in Christian McCaffrey, and now they really don't know how they're going to play with him. They could play like a completely different team.
Yeah, especially only getting 8 touches last week. Really,
exactly.
You expect that to go up.
He asked for the playbook on the flight. That's how much of the playbook he really knew. He had about a day and a half of plays to learn.
Yeah,
I don't know if you've ever seen one of these NFL playbooks, but they are pretty complex.
Yeah, especially I'm sure a Kyle Shanahan one.
Exactly.
Maybe he give you the Kyle Shanahan playbook for dummies week 1, and maybe we'll open it up.
Exactly.
Coming up here, shouts for Daniel Dimes as maybe a MVP candidate here after 7 weeks as they go into another MVP possible candidate in Geno Smith in Seattle. The matchup we didn't know we wanted, I think. Who do you got in this one?
Those are a stretch on both of those MVP throwouts there. But I don't know. I don't know who I would give it to. I guess probably Josh Allen or Patty Mahomes at this point. But no, I think the Giants are really rolling, and going up against a struggling defense in Seattle, I think that they're going to put up some serious points. They are playing in Seattle with the 12th man, and this is a huge game, but I do think the Giants will come out victorious.
Yeah, this one I've been back and forth. Kenneth Walker III making another case for why he should be a star in this league in his young career. What a great performance last week as Seattle just improved to 4-3, which I think is a little bit surprising, especially when we've seen that defense just consistently give up lots and lots of points.
Lots.
Yeah. Giving up 23 to the Chargers last week in that win. It is at home, so that does make it a little tougher. I do think this is going to be a shootout, but I am with you on this one. I got the Giants to go in cross country into Seattle and get a win to keep pace with Philadelphia Eagles.
7-1. If they go 7-1 and they're not top of their division, that's a tough division.
Yeah, right. Who would have thought that this division, when we talked so much smack about it to start the season, that you could probably most years you can get out of the division with a 7-win season.
Record.
Yeah, a losing record. And now if you have a losing, you might be, Washington might be the only team with a losing record come the end of the season. With the way
Dallas can be in third at 10-6 or 11-6 and not make the playoffs.
Yeah, exactly. What a division that is. Green Bay only scoring 7, 7, and 2 in the second halves of their last 3 games. So their offense is just non-existent in the second half of games. The Bills, known for blowouts, they do not let up on you. Even if it is close on halftime, you can expect Buffalo to end up running away with games. They do not usually win close games. I don't see this one personally being a close game. I think Buffalo will have too much for Green Bay, especially in Buffalo as the temperature starts to turn down a little bit, and off a bye week with Josh Allen being able to be mobile, I think helps a lot in this one. You got Buffalo to win this one as they are 11.5-point favorites as well.
I got them to win by 17. I think Green Bay. Well, I saw a stat. Aaron Jones with more than 10 touches or something, or 12 touches. The Packers are a completely different team. In the past few weeks, he's only gotten 8 touches. And guys, just feed him the ball. Yeah. He's great. Just feed him the ball. I don't understand.
Yeah. I feel like definitely trying to force the passing game. And I think that's just not how Green Bay is set up to be successful. They need a two-back system to continuously hold the ball and move monotonously down the field using both of those backs out of the backfield or handing it off. And I think that's the way that they're going to win. Sadly for them this week, they're playing a great Buffalo Bills defense, and that's just not going to happen. They're going to be forced to throw it, and that's going to cause even more problems. And I think Buffalo runs away with this nice and comfortably as they go to 6-1 and stay atop the AFC. Battle of Ohio, Monday Night Football, Halloween as well. The Bengals, after starting off 0-2, have resurged to be tied with the Ravens atop the division. The Browns are the Browns. They will be at home in this one on Monday Night Football. But are you in agreement with the 93% that think that the Bengals and Joe Burrow, who is, I think, 8 touchdowns in his last 2 games, is going to roll into Cleveland and get a win?
This will be a scary day for the Browns.
Hey!
I think the Bengals are going to go into Cleveland and show them that they are the best team in Ohio this year by far.
Hey, the Buckeyes might have a say of that as they are undefeated on the season.
Good luck. I'd like to see the Buckeyes versus the Bengals.
Oh, that would go well. Great to see, Joe Burrow come back. You know what I love? So they do this a lot in European soccer. So they'll have like testimonial games where a player who is recently retired, for example, will get a group of his friends that he's played with either on national team or other teams, most of them already retired, and bring them back, and they'll play like the current team or something like that. I think that would be something that's really cool for football, especially like in the off season or something like that. You have some of these college players, they always come back and watch like spring ball and stuff like that. What if you got them on the field, Yeah. Take Joe Burrow back. He was a Buckeye at one point, but take him back to LSU with Jamar Chase and have them go Justin Jefferson on one side, Jamar Chase on the other side, Joe Burrow under center, and play in like a little spring game, 7-on-7 or something like that. The LSU team is going to lose their mind to see those guys come back and see how great they are. I think that would be something that's fantastic for all of football. I would love to see it.
I would too. It's just the NFL teams would not go for it because it's a contact sport. They don't want to see anybody get hurt.
Yeah, they'll keep people in with concussions though. Yeah, which is ridiculous. Yeah. But I agree with you.
That's minor.
Oh yeah, just forget about that. Don't worry about that. They're not going to be able to walk in 15 years. But don't let them play a 7-on-7 2-touch. Don't you dare. But I got the Bengals rolling in this one. I think it'll be a close game. The AFC North always seems like they produce some good matchups back and forth. This cold weather, good run games for both teams, I think is going to just be the essence of the Midwest football there. And but I got the Bengals, Joe Burrow being a little bit too much for Jacoby Brissett and the Browns. Monday Night Football. There you go. All 15 picks are in for us at the webcast. What's our current rank, Doug? Where are we at in the rankings? We are going for number 1. We have fallen just a smidge, 255 now, as we take our 54-38 record into week 8. Let's see if we can improve that. Get your picks in here. We do our NFL picks on Tuesday. We do our EPL picks on Wednesday and our college football picks on Friday at 7 p.m. So go ahead and get your picks in and track along with us and see which one of us can get to number 1. That is our goal here at the webcast. And also, we got a lot of content coming up here for you tonight. 8:25 Eastern is our NHL prediction show is going to be dropped. Brett, who joined us in the early days of the college football here on the webcast, is going to be giving you all the insight on the NHL for you and covering in depth the Oilers as we move throughout the season. Great team, the Edmonton Oilers last year, making the Western Conference Finals. 2 of the best 5 players in the NHL right now, led by Connor McDavid. Can he be the next Gretzky there in Edmonton? only time will tell, but what a great start to his career he's had in Edmonton. And so Brett will give you all the insight there as you go throughout the season on the NHL and particularly the Oilers. So stay tuned for all of his episodes coming up. We also are 25 days away from kickoff in Qatar. The World Cup is back November 2022. We will be giving you all of the episodes beginning this week, getting you ready for the World Cup, the format, the structure. We've already dropped 2 episodes. We're going to be giving you more USA men's national team hype and information so you can be prepared going into the World Cup to root on the red, white, and blue. So stick with us here at the webcast as we go through all of the sports, all sports, one web. We will see you tomorrow to recap Champions League Game Week 5 as well as EPL action. We'll see who can bounce back and push strong right before the World Cup. Newcastle entering the top 4 after a great performance on the weekend. United with a late goal against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge to nab a point there. Great games last weekend, even more coming up. So stay tuned tomorrow, 7 p.m. here at the webcast, and we will see you then.